Click the plus icon in the top right corner to create a new project. All of these settings can be adjusted after you've created your project, except for the resolution. So be sure you get that the way you want it, and then hit create. This white page is your canvas. You can pinch in to zoom in or pinch out to zoom out, or you can reset the canvas by pinching out quickly. You have tools on the left for drawing. We're not going to go over all the tools, as most are pretty self-explanatory and similar to other drawing programs such as Procreate, but we are going to go over the brush. So go ahead and select it and start drawing on the canvas. If you hold your stroke down, Shape Assist will kick in. You can adjust the Shape Assist preferences in the settings. Under gestures, you can adjust delay for the Shape Assist, or you can just turn it off or on. You can undo and redo with these buttons right here, or you can use 2 fingers to tap on the screen to undo and 3 fingers to tap on the screen to redo. Up top, you have the tool options. Now keep in mind that these options are going to change based on what tool is selected. So you'll see the tool options changing for each one of these tools. We have the sidebar on the right with our color picker, our drawing layers, and this is where we can see our different layers and create new layers for our current drawing. Now, don't get these mixed up and confused with animation layers. We'll go over those shortly, but animation layers and drawing layers have 2 different purposes. Underneath that, we have our inspector, which shows the properties for both our currently selected drawing layer and our currently selected animation layer. So this is similar to the tool options up top. These properties are going to be different based on what kind of layer is selected. Our transform tool allows us to move, scale, and rotate layers. If we look at the tool options up top for the transform tool, we've got our snapping that we can turn on or turn off. We've got our scaling mode, to where we can set it to freeform or uniform. It's on uniform by default. That means it just scales equally in both directions. We turn it on freeform, we can scale it in just one direction. We've got our perspective tool, which only works on raster layers. So this is a vector layer, so we need to rasterize it. And then now we can change its perspective. And our warp tool, we can flip it horizontally, we can flip it vertically. We can quickly delete something by selecting it and then hitting the trash can underneath the inspector icon. We can insert shapes by selecting the path tool and then tapping the path tool again. That'll give us different shape options. Say we wanted to make a head with a circle. I did insert one, but we've got our color picker set to be white. So let's change it to black. And underneath our path layer properties, we can adjust the fill to be transparent and the stroke to be black. And now we can adjust the stroke width. And there we go. You've got a head. We can add videos, photos, or audio clips to our project by clicking the library button in the top left corner. You can then click the plus button in the top right of that window, and we can import from either our photos or from our files. I'm going to choose photos, and I'm just going to pick some random picture and click add. And there we go. It's in our project. It's in our scene. We could have also chosen a video or an audio clip and it would have brought it in automatically. So let's get rid of that photo. If we click the arrow in the bottom right corner, that'll open up our timeline. Our blue play cursor tells us where we currently are on our timeline. If we start drawing, it will create our first frame. If we go to the next frame and start drawing, it will create another drawing on that frame. We can extend the drawing by dragging the blue handle. So now this one lasts multiple frames. We can extend multiple frames by double tapping with the pencil and holding it down and then dragging to the left. Now we've got them both selected. So now we can just drag the handle and it will affect both the drawings. We can also, with them both selected, move them if we want to move them instead of extending them. We can pinch the timeline to zoom in. Can pinch it to zoom out. I want to insert a drawing on this frame. I move that drawing one over to get it out of the way. And then now I'm just going to hit add drawing. We can turn on onion skinning. We can also configure the settings for our onion skinning by holding it down. This magnet icon is snapping for our timeline. So it's on by default, meaning if we adjust this frame, it's going to adjust all the neighboring frames as well. So it's going to move them along with it. If we turn the snapping off, now we shouldn't be able to adjust it at all. Or we can adjust it, but we adjust it independently. Since there's frames in the way right here, we can't extend it, but we could go the other way. And so this is good if you don't want these frames to go with it. So turn that off if you don't want the neighboring frames to be affected. I'm going to drag this back to where it was. I'm going to turn snapping back on. We've got our looping icon right here. We can turn that on to loop our animation. We can also start the loop on specific frames and end it on specific frames. Now, if we loop, it'll just loop on those frames. But keep in mind, that will not be maintained if you export it. If you export it, it will show all the frames. We can add multiple layers to our timeline. We can add groups. We can add a camera, which we will talk about in another video. We can also import audio, video, and images through our timeline down here, just like we did earlier through our library. We can adjust properties for our animation layer by clicking the inspector icon in the sidebar on the right. Right now, these are the properties for the drawing layer. So let's select animation layer, and you will see some properties that you can adjust. You can select multiple layers by sliding to the right, and that will select multiple layers. You can split drawings by moving your cursor to the middle of the drawing and then tapping with your pencil, split drawing. You can delete drawings by selecting them and then delete. We're going to delete all of them. If you're familiar with keyframing, you turn it on with this icon right here. And then now you can use keyframe animations, which we will cover in another video. But if you are already familiar with this and other programs, feel free to play around with this. It's very powerful and you can do a lot with it. Now let's just do a quick animation just so y'all can see what it's like to actually make something. So we're just going to do a dot. I know, super exciting, right? I'm going to turn on onion skinning, and we are just going to make this dot move a little bit. Get closer to the camera. And there we go. We've got a simple animation of a dot that's looks like it's flying towards the camera and then flying back away, and it's just looping. Something else I wanted to show y'all is you can actually scrub through these frames by holding down 3 fingers on the screen and then swiping up and down. So we can use that to conveniently see how our animation looks and feels. And then let's say we're happy with our animation, but now we want to just make a symbol out of it so we can reuse it in the future. We can just tap on the animation layer and create symbol. And there we go. If we want to edit the symbol, we go up here in our drawing layer, tap it, and then edit clip. And then now we can tell by these breadcrumbs right here that we're in scene 1, layer 1. We are in our symbol. So we can edit it in here. And whenever we're done and ready to go back to our scene, we just tap scene 1. We can also edit the symbol by going to our library, pressing and holding it down, and then clicking edit. And again, back to our scene. And let's say we're happy with our animation. We want to export it. We would just go actions, export. And there's several different settings that you can tinker with. I usually select current clip, not all scenes. And then you just hit export. And there you go. Be sure to save the video after you export it. And then now it should be saved to your camera roll. And that's going to be it, guys. We definitely didn't cover everything that ToonSquid has to offer, but we did cover the basics that should get you up and running with frame by frame animation. We didn't go into keyframing. We will cover that in its own separate video. So be sure to subscribe and hit that bell, as I will be posting a video about that soon. If you're watching this in the future, it's probably already posted. So just subscribe and go to my channel and find it. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I will see you in the next one.